She said it to her face, in front of other parents, at a school event. You must have it so much easier with your son since he's gay. Like having a gay son meant he wasn't really a teenage boy. Like his sexuality had somehow made him less work, less complicated, less of everything mothers complain about. She didn't think before responding. The words came fast and sharp, louder than she intended. Other parents turned to look. The woman's face went red, and by the time she walked away, she'd become the mother who couldn't take a compliment, the one who made everything about prejudice. The conversation was over, but the reputation had just begun. This isn't a story about defending your child. It's about the moment you realize that people see your family through a lens you can't control. When someone's assumption feels so wrong that staying quiet becomes impossible. And when speaking up makes you the problem, even though you weren't the one who created it. She has 3 kids, 2 daughters and a son. Griffin, her middle child, just turned 15. She grew up with 3 younger brothers, babysat male cousins her entire childhood. She knows boys. She knows exactly what 15 looks like. Griffin is every bit a teenage boy. Ratty t-shirts he refuses to throw away, jeans or sweats, nothing else. His entire world revolves around football, hanging out with his bros, and getting into trouble with his boyfriend. The boyfriend she describes as a delinquent, the same way any mother would describe the kid leading her son into questionable decisions. There's the crusty old t-shirt hidden under his bed that he thinks she doesn't know about. The hygiene battles, the attitude, the mess, the constant negotiation about responsibilities, respect, and basic human decency. Yes, he's gay. Yes, he came out 2 years ago. And yes, she loves him exactly as he is. But his sexuality didn't make him easier to raise. It didn't turn him into a different kind of teenager. He's still a 15-year-old boy with all the chaos that comes with it. She thought everyone understood that. She was wrong. It happened at a school event. One of those evening things where parents gather and make small talk while waiting for it to be over. She was standing with a group of mothers, the kind of casual conversation that happens a dozen times a week. Someone mentioned the struggle of raising teenage boys, the refusal to shower, the attitudes, the constant pushing of boundaries, standard complaints, universal frustrations. She joined in, shared a story about Griffin, something typical, relatable, the kind of thing that makes other parents laugh and nod because they're living it too. That's when the woman said it. Another mother, someone she knew but not well. The words came out casual, almost cheerful, like she was offering comfort. Well, you must have it so much easier with Griffin since he's gay. The conversation stopped, not dramatically, but there was a pause, a shift. Other mothers glanced at her, waiting to see how she'd respond. She felt it immediately, the assumption underneath the words, that gay boys are somehow less boyish, less difficult, more civilized, like his sexuality had opted him out of typical teenage boy behavior, like loving boys instead of girls had made him less of a handful. She asked the woman to clarify, to explain what she meant, trying to give her a chance to walk it back, to realize how it sounded. The woman doubled down, said gay boys are usually more sensitive, more communicative, easier to talk to, more mature, better behaved. She was describing a completely different child than the one who lived in her house. Here's what the woman was really saying, whether she meant to or not, that Griffin's identity as a gay teen somehow disqualified him from being a real teenage boy. That the parts of him that were loud, messy, difficult, and frustrating must be less intense because of who he loves. It was a compliment built on erasure, on the idea that gay boys exist in some separate category, not quite boys in the way that matters, not quite the full experience, and she was supposed to smile and accept it, supposed to be grateful that someone acknowledged her son at all, supposed to ignore the fact that the comment reduced him to a stereotype while pretending to celebrate him. But if she'd said nothing, the assumption would have stood. Unchallenged, repeated. passed along to other parents who'd start looking at Griffin differently, who'd wonder why he wasn't more like the version they'd been told gay boys are supposed to be. So she snapped, not yelling, but firm, told the woman she was wrong, that Griffin was exactly as difficult as any other 15-year-old boy, that his sexuality didn't make him easier, didn't make him less of anything. The woman looked stunned, then defensive, said she was just trying to be supportive, that she didn't mean anything by it. Other parents went quiet, the kind of silence that means everyone's uncomfortable and no one knows whose side to take. The woman walked away. The conversation didn't recover. And within days, she started hearing about it, that she'd overreacted, that she'd been aggressive, that the woman had been trying to say something nice and got attacked for it, that maybe she was too sensitive about her son being gay, that she was looking for problems where none existed. No one mentioned what the woman had actually said. No one questioned the assumption itself. The story became about her reaction, not the comment that caused it. She tried explaining, tried pointing out why the statement was reductive, why it mattered. But every explanation made her sound more defensive, more like someone who couldn't let things go. Griffin heard about it eventually, asked her what happened. She told him. He shrugged, said the woman sounded dumb, then went back to his phone. It didn't bother him, but it bothered her. Because he'd faced this his whole life. People assuming his identity meant certain things about his personality, his interests, his behavior. And every time, he'd have to decide whether to correct them or let it slide. She'd made her choice. And now, she was living with it. Things are different now at school events. Not hostile, just careful. The woman avoids her. Other parents are polite but distant. There's a sense that she's difficult, that she takes things too seriously. Some parents reached out privately, said they understood, that the comment had bothered them too, but none of them said it publicly. None of them backed her up when it would have mattered. She doesn't regret what she said. She regrets how it's been received, how defending her son's full humanity somehow made her the unreasonable one. Griffin is still Griffin. Still messy, still stubborn, still sneaking out with his boyfriend, still entirely, exhaustingly, wonderfully himself. But now she carries this, the knowledge that some people will always see him as a version of himself that doesn't exist, and that correcting them comes with a cost. This story is about visibility without understanding, about the difference between acceptance and erasure, about what happens when people think they're being supportive but are actually flattening someone into a more comfortable shape. The woman thought she was being kind, acknowledging Griffin's identity, offering solidarity. But what she actually did was tell a mother that her experience wasn't real, that the hard parts didn't count because her son didn't fit the mold. It's the peculiar burden of raising a child who's different in any visible way. People feel entitled to comment, to interpret, to tell you what your experience must be like based on their assumptions, and if you push back, you're the problem. You're too sensitive, too protective, too unable to accept a compliment. But compliments built on stereotypes aren't compliments. They're erasure wearing a smile, and accepting them means accepting a version of your child that doesn't exist. She chose not to do that, and now she knows what that choice costs. So here's what you have to decide. Should she have let it go? Accepted the comment as well-intentioned and moved on? Or was she right to push back, even knowing it would make her look difficult? When someone reduces your child to a stereotype while claiming to support them, do you correct them? Or do you smile and preserve the peace? And if speaking up for your child's full reality makes you the unreasonable one, what does that say about whose comfort we're actually protecting? Where would you draw that line? Because she drew hers, and she's still standing on it.